Hello and welcome to another reaction commentary, and today I'll be reacting to the first episode of year 2 in my show. I just want to say, comparing this to the first official episode of year 1, I'd say this episode is a huge step up in terms of pretty much mostly everything, like the writing, the pacing, and the editing, except for the bad mic quality. But so far, I mean, even just
Why is this game so hard?
Celeste, whatever you want to call it. Before starting the actual video, you can tell not much has changed with the equipment because I was still not able to afford better quality cameras and audio, but yeah, excuse me. Sorry, I just finished lunch. This video was, or this episode is a huge step up from Celeste was released on January 25th, 2018 for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Windows, Mac, and Linux. Before being released. So the reason why I keep saying that this video is a step up from the videos that I used to make back then was um, I tried to focus more on the story aspect of the game, which is Celeste, and that's what. And since Celeste is a pretty heavy story game, that's what I want to focus here on this particular episode. So I'm glad I did that because this video is probably the most unique compared to the previous videos that I made. Also, just seeing the gameplay, you can already tell this is my first rodeo of Celeste, and looking back at the gameplay, after finishing Celeste for more than like 30 hours of just grinding the B-side levels. Yeah, um, it hurts just watching um, my first gameplay or my first few moments in the game. You can already tell I'm still trying to adapt to the mechanics of the game because I'm not really a I don't really play a ton of platformer games except for Mario and Kirby, but yeah, that's mostly all of the platformers that I usually play. Also Sonic games, but yeah, those are usually the games that I played. But um, yeah, I'm not really a huge fan of platformer games. I do find them fun, but yeah, I don't really play them as much. Also, I could, I could have fixed more of the transitions because it's mostly abrupt. But that's the first time. I think it's the first time that I tried doing some transitions between each segment in the game, which is something that I don't think I've done in the previous episodes. Back in the previous episodes, I think I used to just talk about, let's say in Cuphead, I still remember I keep talking about, um, let's say I'm talking about a boss, and I was talking about a boss, what are its mechanics, and some of my general comments on it, and then I quickly move forward to the next segment, which is either another boss or a level of the game. So, yeah, I'm glad that I've added some transitions into this episode because I want to try something new, you know? And so I'm glad I did that, but Then again, these transitions aren't like the best. Like this generic font, I could have just used the a similar font of the Celeste game, but yeah. So we come across this bridge with this dark goo that I don't know why I keep saying us as a reference to Madeline, which is the character that you're controlling in Celeste. I could have just said Madeline, but since the game gave you the option to name your own character, is probably the reason why I just kept referring to Madeline as us in the entire video. So that's something that I'm that I normally frown upon when revisiting this episode. Okay, so another annoying fact about this. So um, for the longest time until making this episode, I didn't realize that the footage is flipped. So I was using a phone when recording videos of myself in my room. And for the longest time, again, I didn't realize that when I upload this footage onto my laptop, I didn't realize that it was flipped. And so it sort of became a running. I don't know if it's a running gag. I don't know if I don't think I focused on the fact that the video is flipped, and so this text attached to my clothes, it's supposed to be Captain Obvious, but at the time of recording this, I didn't realize that it was going to be flipped, so it just looks like a bunch of scrambled letters that doesn't make any sense. And so yeah, the Captain Obvious gag sort of became a dead joke. Basically, I might, I don't know, I might think I might use this sometime in the future, or for some future episodes, I don't know, but yeah, this and this. No! So this part in chapter 7, if you haven't played the game, and I'm sorry if you haven't played the game because there might be some spoilers that I'm going to talk about here in this reaction video specifically, but in this chapter is basically the high, or basically the climax of the game. So yeah, looking back, I could have just made a montage of just Madeline going through each of the level or each of the sections in the game, and so yeah, that's sort of what I could have done. But then again, as as you can tell, obviously, most of the video is just me explaining the mechanics of each, explaining the unique mechanics in each level, and so it's basically summary, then story, summary, story, summary, story. So that's basically the pacing of this entire video. And maybe some comments in between, summary, comment, story, comment, summary, content, story, comment, and all of that stuff. And so yeah, that's basically how the first few episodes are paced, and so that's what I've been wanting to change or want to improve upon for the future episodes. But yeah, I mean, so far this is obviously leagues better than the first episode of year one, and yeah, I just want to say that I'm really proud of how this video turned out. It's one of my favorite episodes, I mean, ever, and I'm glad that I was able to make such. I mean, it's not total quality video, but in terms of all the videos that I've done, this is basically a still a pretty quality video and still holds up to some extent. So yeah, again, I'm really proud of this video. This chapter is by far the longest and most challenging chapter of the entire game, as it introduces tons of new objects and mechanics. The first one is double diamonds. In the second subchapter, we lose the ability. By the way, I want to say something. This entire chapter, chapter 9, took more than half of the total time it took for me to beat chapters 1 to 8. Chapter 9 is that long and it is painfully difficult. And not only that, and I will and I'm and I will mention this in this episode in particular, but you have to obtain some hearts, I believe. So yeah. You have to beat the B-side levels in order to further progress this entire chapter. So you have to go through the B-side levels, and the B-side levels are insanely difficult versions of each chapter. And so there's one chapter in particular, I think it's chapter 2, the B-side level. Yeah, so this is the part where I've spent like hours trying to finish. And it looks painfully simple, but it's so difficult in a weird way, in a frustrating way, and I'm glad that I won't return to this game because I will eventually try. If I'm going to replay this game, I have to replay this, and I don't want to do that. So yeah. Then again, Celeste is replayable. The gameplay is fun, but I don't want to go back to the specific part in the game. I mean, this just seeing this alone just gives me trauma. And so I'd say this part yeah, I'm really proud of how this montage turned out. The music could have been a bit better, but yeah, I want to add this little montage just to show you guys how painful it took to get all of those hearts in order to progress through chapter 9. And it took me hours. And so yeah, in this part here, where I've replayed this terrifying part of the B-side level in chapter 2, I replayed this and it took me 4 tries to get to that heart. So all I had to do was just to replay the entire level. Gaming is great, guys. I got all the hearts I needed. Now for the final challenge. So another weird thing about this montage is that within the music you can hear like the jumps and stuff, the dashes of Madeline in the game. So yeah, what I what I could have done is just add in some music alone and not some portions of the gameplay. And so yeah, which is why it's a little bit awkward to hear. But then again, yeah, I'm really proud of how this turned out because this is like one of the first few. I think this is the first time where I've actually put in effort trying to match the tone of a certain level in a game, and I think I've done an okay job at that. And so yeah, I'm really proud of how this turned out, and yeah. Also, that scream, um, I just reused that scream from
Yes.
the E3 episode where I think it's the part where Silk Song was shown, and I let out this sort of quiet scream that's basically increased to the maximum, and that's why the scream is a bit awkward. And so yeah, the reason why I reuse that is because I want to try to make another gag where I reuse that same scream over and over in each of my episodes. So yeah, I know lately I haven't been using that. I don't know why. Maybe it's because that scream isn't really good. So yeah. This episode in particular, I'd say is the best one so far that I've reacted to, and this is basically, I'd say this is a lot better than all of the episodes that I've done in year one. So yeah, you can obviously tell where the quality of videos that I'm making is has changed in a good way. So yeah, I'm really proud of this video, and I'd say it's one of the best videos of the show so far, except for some slight issues here and there. But yeah, I'm really great of how this video turned out, and so yeah, I hope you guys also enjoyed this video, um, this episode in particular, and as always, I hope you guys have a great time and enjoy.